Guys, so today we are going to know about testing Apex. So what is testing Apex? So basically first we'll know what are the two Apex modules in Salesforce. Okay, so there are two Apex modules in Salesforce that are Apex classes and triggers. So first we'll know about this testing the class, and then in the later videos we'll know about these triggers and how to test the triggers. So first we'll learn about how to test the normal Apex classes. Okay, so how to test the Apex codes. So we need to execute the actual class methods through test method from another class called test class. So basically test class means it is also another class which is used to test the actual class. Okay, so this is also called as unit test, and it is used to verify whether the particular piece of code is working properly or not. So as stated here, just think of a test method as Apex code that tests the other Apex code. Okay, so here comes a question. So why can't we test the codes manually using anonymous window? So we can test through anonymous window, but it will not be recorded anywhere in the platform. So if you want to test the actual code through test class, then the code coverage field will be updated. Okay, so through the code coverage field we can know the how much code is tested through the test class. Okay, so that's why we use another test class to test the actual class. Okay, so what is code coverage? So what is code coverage means it calculated by dividing the number of unique Apex code lines executed during your test method by the total number of Apex code lines in all of your trigger and classes. Okay, so this is the formula for the code coverage. So it contains the number of unique Apex code lines executed divided by the total number of Apex code lines. So we'll get the percentage of the code coverage, how much it is tested in the class. So normally for Apex class it must provide at least 75% code coverage, and for Apex triggers it must provide at least 1% code coverage. Okay, so next we'll move on to the syntax for the test class. So first we have to use the @each_test annotation. So this annotation is very important for the test class to test any actual class. After that, in the next line we have to write the test class name after the class keyword, and after that inside the flower brackets we have to use the @each_test annotation again, and then we'll use the static void method for the testing class. Okay, so inside this the code will be placed. So there is another form for the test class. You can do in this manner or in this manner also. So what is the difference between these two? So in this static method, after the void keyword we'll use the, so here we'll give the test method name after the static keyword, and in the previous one, in the previous syntax, we'll not give the test method name, and we'll use the @each_test annotation only once. So normally you can use the syntax whichever you want. Okay, so next we'll move on to the first example, and we'll execute this in the developer console first. First let's take this class. So if you observe here in this class, we have got the input parameter as the name, and in the display method we have to display this name using this debug method. So this is the actual class which you are going to test now. So how to write the test class for this class? Let's see here. Now there are some steps for this test class. First, step 1 is, so first we have to use @isTest annotation, and then after the class we have to give whichever you want the test class name. Normally we'll append the test keyword with the test word with the actual class name after, so it will be easy to refer when you want to refer in a test class for the actual class. And after that again we have to use the isTest annotation, and after that we have to use the static void method. The static void method we have to use the test method name. So here we have to give the code for the test class, and the second step is we have to replace the code with the below code. So this is the actual class which we saved just now, and we have to initialize this. Okay, and then so by using this display method we can test the class which is the actual class called my class. So this is the final test class. Okay, so I'm going to create a test class now. So we have got the test class here. I'm going to place this so the test class is done now. Okay, let's the run test. So under the test tab we can check whether this is succeeded or not. So the result we got is completed. So in this tab, overall code coverage, you can select the class which you want to was tested. So if you observe the code coverage here, it is 100%, and if you see the highlighted line here, it's a blue line. So the blue line represents the code which is tested during the test class. Okay, so here only one method is used, so that's why it's showing only one line. Okay, so it is a simple class, and next we'll move on to the next example. So here we have to know about this annotation called isTest. So why it is used? Because it will change the behavior of the class and methods. So okay, then it will be used. The test class cannot be instantiated. so that means we cannot create object for the test class. Then how to run the test class? Normally we can test the class in the anonymous window using instance of that class, but test class cannot be instantiated, so that's why we'll run the test class. So we can directly test this test class using this run test button just now, which we did for the previous class, or we can use this developer console and we can open the test class and click on the run test button on the top right side. Okay, let's see this. Okay, so the test run is done again. Okay, what is the best practice for testing? So the code coverage should be 100% and we have to prepare the test data, and positive and negative cases must be tested in the test class. So let's take the next example for the test class. So this is the calculator class. Inside the calculator class we have taken the sum and the total value as the parameters, and we have to calculate the sum and multiply methods. So we have got the sum method and multiply method, and we have got the difference method also. So let's take this calculator class for testing. So here inside the sum method we have taken the integer a and b as the input parameters. So sum is equal to a plus b. We have written a formula here, and we have used the return keyword to return the sum, and then we have taken the two integers x and y for the multiply method. So the value is calculated in the total value, and next one is the difference method. So here we have got the conditions for the difference method. So the result is displayed as the integer, so we have used the integer data type for the result. So if x greater than y, the result will be x minus y, and if x greater than y less than y, the result will be y minus x. So we have got the three conditions here. Let's see the test class for this calculator class. So before going to the test class, we have to know about the system.assert equals, which will be used in the test class. So normally for what it is used? So it is basically used to check whether the two values are equal or not. So normally the one of the value which will be expected value which we expect while making the dummy variables. So the second one is the actual result which we'll get and passing the variable in the given class method. So normally this system.assert equals will be written true if the values are equal. So if the values are not equal, which is expected, it will throw an exception message. Okay, so let's go for the test class for this calculator class. So I'm trying to save this test class now. Let's see how it will work. So here first we have used the @istest annotation. It should be very important for the test class. So without this the test class won't work. And then we have got the static method for sum, multiply, and then for the difference also. So the calculator class is instantiated inside this method, and we have taken the numbers of example. For example, we have taken the numbers 10 and 30. So we have got used the system.assert equals whether the sum method which is displayed is correct or not, and then the same manner we have used the multiply method and we have used the difference method. Okay, so let's run this test. So the test run is completed enough for the three methods. Let's check this in the code coverage. So if you click on the overall code coverage, the class which was tested, so here the percentage shown is 93% only, and the lines covered are 14 by 15. So it's because here you can observe the blue lines and we've got only one red line. It's because it's not covered in the test class, that's why it's showing red color, and the lines which are not highlighted are not available for the test class. Okay, so the blue lines are covered in the test class now. Okay, so here if you observe, we have taken all the methods in the test class. So inside the calculator class for the test difference method, we have got the two results here, and we have left one result here. If x is equal to y, we should get the result is equal to 0. So we have left this. So I have left this because to show the difference between the blue lines and the red lines which is highlighted. So to know what is the code coverage and how it works, So you can achieve 100% code coverage, so by inserting another result here when x is equal to y. Okay, so this is about the next example, and next we'll move on to the setup and non-setup objects in the test class. So normally by default the organization data such as account, contact, lead, case, opportunities and custom objects will not be available to test class. So these objects are referred as non-setup objects. So but the setup objects like user, permission, setup, these are available to the test class. So how to access this non-setup objects in the test class? Okay, let's take one example. Okay, let's take one example for this non-setup objects. I'm taking this account here. So we have taken the actual class called customer apex, and we have got the account list called get account details. So inside we have taken the domain as the parameter, and then in the account list have got the SQL query. So inside the SQL query we have got the ID from account where industry is equal to domain. Okay, and then we have got the insert account method. So we have got the DML statement called insert, and then here we have got the get contacts method, and we have got the return method also. Okay, let's take the test class for this customer apex. So we have got the test class here for the customer apex actual class. So inside this test class we have got, okay, first we have got the @ each test annotation. It is very important. So I forgot to tell you one thing. So if you observe here in this test class, we can see the code coverage directly After running the test, see if we can see the code coverage for different methods also. So for test sum it is 33, for difference 53%, and for multiply 26%. Okay, so if you observe the first class which we all created, it's got the 100%. So we have got only one method, that's why it is displaying like this. So first we have to prepare the test data which we want to insert. So inside the account list we have got the new account, and we are inserting the name and industry field, and we are adding this accounts, new account, into this accounts list. And then first we are inserting 30 records. So if you observe in this for loop, we have got the 30 records here, and next in another loop we have inserted another 10 records. Okay, so here DML statement should be after the for loop. So to avoid the errors in the class, to avoid the exceptions, to avoid the DML exceptions in the class, we have to give the DML statement after the for loop. Okay, then we have instantiated this actual class called customer apex, and then we are using the system.assert equals to check the account size which you are inserted. So first 30 records should be inserted, and in the next one 10 records should be inserted. So let's run test. So if you observe here, so we have got the result as completed, and there are no errors in this customer apex. And then let's check the code coverage first for this customer apex class in this overall code coverage section. So we have got the code coverage as only 37%. Okay, only 3 lines are executed for the 8 lines. So first 3 lines are only executed. So customer apex test details 37%. It is because we can't get all the data in the non-setup objects. We have to provide see all data is equal to true after that the rate of each test annotation. Then we'll get the code coverage of 100%. Okay, so here there are some few important points to view the code coverage in several places in the developer console. So I have covered these four important points already. Let's check again. So the test tab include an overall coverage panel that displays the code coverage % for every Apex class in your org. Okay, here is telling about the test tab. So if you click on the test tab, you can click on the various test classes that is run, that has taken place in this org. Okay, next one is we have to double click a completed test run to open the test results view that display the test class, method, etc. So we can click on the, so if you click on the double click, we can get the class name, method name, and duration, result, error, track trace. So we'll get the details like this. And to view line by line code coverage for an Apex class, open the class. So just now we got this. So I have covered this also, and the blue lines, normally I have discussed about this, about the blue lines, red lines, what is this all about. And next one is, so important properties to be understand in the test classes. So non-setup object data will not be available for test class, and to access the non-setup objects, the class or method should have @eastest see all data is equal to true. Okay, so these are the some basics of the test class which we are discussed today. So let's see more about the test class with see all data and without see all data. We'll see about this in the next class. So see you guys.